Thanks for joining us today for our live show. If you have always been an advocate for your child to be included during the school year, but then when it comes summer, it's like, what's available besides these special camps or special therapies? So today we're going to be talking about 4 strategies that you can use to make sure that inclusion happens year-round and not just during the school year. So if I haven't met you before, I'm Charmaine Thaner. I'm a parent, an advocate, a retired teacher, and an author of a #1 best-selling book, The Art of Advocacy, A Parent's Guide to a Collaborative IEP Process. So when you think about summer, I want you to finish this sentence for me. So it says, summertime and the living is... So what word would you fill in there? Summertime and the living is... So go ahead and type it in the comment box what you're thinking about summertime. And I'm going to check and make sure we're live, which we are. When you join us, just say hi, and then we can know that you're here with us live today. When I've asked this question before, and I've asked questions to parents about what's it like for summer to come, and sometimes they say, oh, it's easy. Sometimes it's like, it's overwhelming. My child's out of their school routine. It's like, help. Other times it's like, oh, how do we get into this whole new schedule of getting my kids where they need to be, making sure I'm at my job and I'm doing my work. So summertime can be a little bit more challenging for us parents who have kids with disabilities. Would you agree? Type yes in the comment box if you've experienced some of these overwhelming times during the summer vacations. So one of the things also is that a lot of times kids are in segregated extended school year service programs. Now, recently I've done about 3 different videos about extended school year, and they talk about how that also can be individualized and inclusive. So if this is something that you're interested in learning about inclusive extended school year services, just type the letters ESY in the comment box, and I'll get the link to those videos for you. But let's dive in to our strategies. So as I said, we're going to have 4 different strategies we talk about today. And the first one is to scope out what's available in your own community. So sometimes it's like we even forget about all the different things that our kids could really tap into during the summertime. So it might be a public library reading program or puppet shows that they have. What I'd like you to do is to think about all the activities that your child could be doing if they didn't have a disability. So think about, would they be signing up for a science camp or taking art classes at your local museum? Would they be going to a Boy Scout or Girl Scout camp with their friends? If they're older, would they be volunteering or having a paid job in the summer? If those are things that kids without disabilities can do in the summer, we want to make sure that your child gets the opportunity to do those things also. So checking out what's in your community is going to be your starting point. That's going to be your first strategy that you're going to use. Let's see. Besides local libraries, you might think about, if you're a member of a church, to see if they're offering a vacation Bible program. If you have a local college nearby, check with them. They're often offering some different exciting day camps that your child can sign up for. I know that inclusion was always important for our son Dylan when he was in school, and it still is now as an adult. He's 28 years old, happens to have Down syndrome. He rents a house with a couple of roommates, and he has support from staff. And so one of the things that we were just talking about with Dylan was for him to go by the Friday newspaper, because usually in your local newspaper they'll have a section for the weekend, all the different fun things going on, and also for the upcoming week. So one of the strategies that we've used now with Dylan is for him to make sure he finds out, are there some free concerts going on at the mall? Is there a movie night at the local park that he and his roommates would be interested in going in? So kind of be that detective and scope out all the different things that you can find in your local community right now. So strategy 2 is to assume your child can participate. So notice, I didn't say call the Park and Rec department and ask what special classes they offer for kids with disabilities. I want you to assume that your child can participate. Just like during the school year, we assume that they can be learning in the general ed classroom. So another example that has to do with my own family is when Nicole and Matt were older, or younger, our older two kids, when they were young, we had them take swim lessons at the local Y, and they were great. They were small class size. The instructors were fabulous. So when it came time for Dylan to take swimming lessons, we thought, well, let's see what the Y has going on this summer. So I called the Y and I asked, when their summer sessions were, and we figured out one that would work with their schedule. And it wasn't until the end of the conversation that I said, and just, to give you a heads up, our son Dylan does have Down syndrome. I don't see this being an issue during his swim lessons. I think everything will go fine. If there are, any kinds of questions, make sure you let the instructor know they can always talk with me. And it was fine. So we need to, take that first step and assume that our kids can participate in these activities. Now, it may be the first time that they've had a child with disabilities in their summer park and rec program. But there's always that first time when your child was included in the general ed classrooms during the school year. And we figured out ways to have that happen and for that to be a positive experience. So trust that you already have some of those skills of how you can help the park and rec person be successful with your child. So let's stop for just a second here, and I'm going to see if we have any questions on our live page. And I'm just going to type in a comment here to say, ask questions, because I want to make sure this is interactive with you. And if you want, you can hit the share button on the Facebook page, and this video will go out to your page, and your friends can tap into it also. So that was our first strategy, was to scope out what's in your community. The second strategy was to assume that your child can participate. And strategy number 3 is to use natural supports when possible. Now, you may be wondering, what happens if I do sign my child up for, a typical community camp or activity, and I'm worried that they are going to need some extra help. So first of all, I think what we want to do is we want to look at what were some natural supports that helped your child during the school year. So sometimes just those friends and those typical peers around him were the models that he or she needed. So when the camp instructor is giving directions, your child can learn to look to the peer, look to his friend sitting on his left, see what they're doing. They can model that and know what the instructions mean then. So think about maybe any accommodations that you use during the school year and how that could be helpful. Those would be some tips and strategies that you could give your community workers or community park and rec people to help your child. And speaking of, last week we went through doing a one-pager on what your child's strengths and good strategies to use and what doesn't work with your child, what does work. So this, we were thinking of, this would be great to give to next year's teachers. But guess what? The same kind of one-page profile of your child, that would be great for you to give to the swim instructor or the Boy Scout camp director. So use strategies that you've used during the school year because they can be really helpful during your summer activities. Now, I know some families get additional help and funding for community support workers, and one of their main goals is to get the child out in the community doing things. So make sure if you have that type of person that you prioritize inclusive activities that you want the community support worker to be doing with your child in the summer. That would be awesome use of their time. So again, just have inclusion on your brain and be thinking of ways that you can incorporate that throughout your child's summer. So our fourth strategy is to brainstorm low-cost or no-cost family activities. So this is where the whole family gets together and just has some fun, right? Have some fun. So it might be just, going on a walk around the block during the evening, or maybe on the weekend it's getting out the bubbles and the sidewalk chalk and having neighbors and friends come over and just playing in the, front yard. It could be, simple things as inviting neighbors over for a barbecue. What we're trying to do is build relationships, and the more that our neighbors and our people in our communities get to know our kids as whole people and not just somebody with a disability label, the more opportunities and possibilities there will be for our kids to be really included in all community aspects, not just during the 9 months of the school year. So get out as a family, do some fun things, spend some time thinking of ways that you can get your child's friends involved. It might be inviting a friend over to spend the night or for a play date, but a lot of times you have to kind of set those things up because sometimes they just won't happen, right? Unless the parent gets involved and helps do some of that facilitating. So instead of thinking all you have, the only choices that you have this summer is to sign your child up for segregated or special activities, I want you to think again, because your child can do a lot more in the community and have a lot of fun and be learning also. So if this has been helpful for you, if you can send me a like or a heart there on the Facebook site. I see we have a couple people in. Erica is here. Yay for Erica. And I know Erica was looking at the local Y brochure for her son and some of the neat activities that are available for kids. So to scope things out, make sure that you are open to other possibilities. So we're going to do a quick recap of our 4 strategies that we talked about today. Scope out what's available in your own community. Assume your child can participate. And our 3rd strategy was to use natural supports when possible. And the 4th strategy, do low-cost or no-cost family activities. So I also wanted to say hey to Kim. I see that Kim joined us, and Erica's on here live. So remember, if you have friends that weren't able to watch it live, they can watch the replay. And in a minute, I'll be giving you the information about that free ebook about inclusive summer activities. So just as a way of closing, I seem to always kind of gravitate to different kind of quotes that I think are helpful for us. So this quotation says, create change. Create inclusion 12 months of the year. So that's my challenge for you. How are you going to create that positive change? How are you going to create inclusive community activities? I know it can be a challenge, and so that's why I put together this free ebook for you. So if you're interested in getting the free ebook, just type the word change in the comment box, and at the end of the video I'll come back and give you the link to the free ebook all about creating 12 months of inclusion. I also wanted to let you know that as an advocate, I'm still working during the summer. There's lots of things that we can still be working on in the summer. So if you have questions that come up, I offer a free half-hour phone consultation with parents. You can just call me at the number on the screen, which is 208-340-5874. And I'd be happy to chat with you about inclusive summer opportunities for your child or any other special ed questions that you have that might come up over the summer. So feel free to stay in touch with me. Each week we do these live shows on Thursdays at noon. So until next week, I'm Charmaine Thaner, and have a great summer. Take care.